Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Raritan Valley Hi-Railers. We're here with Matt for another update, July of 2024. Before we get started, Matt, I just wanted to say you guys put on one heck of a great show at the TCA convention. There was a lot of great feedback, and I'm still seeing stuff, people posting on Facebook even today. Weeks later after the show, how it was a great layout. They really enjoyed it, and they could not believe what they were seeing in person. The people who have seen my videos of your layout, but when they got to see it in person, they were really impressed. So I just wanted to give you that feedback.
No, I appreciate it. Listen, that convention was a lot of fun. I mean, that's the biggest our layout's ever been. And it all kind of pulled together at the last minute because we had some guys who weren't able to make it, but then some guys did favors and went and picked up trailers from there and brought them out to to Pennsylvania. But yeah, no, I mean it wasn't a huge show, but it was the nice thing with that show is everybody there understood what we were talking about, what we were doing. So it was nice. Like there was no silly questions. Like everybody, and met a lot of great people, and got compliments from people that like Don Kaiser, who does articles in OGR. I mean, when you get paid a compliment by somebody like that, who is, I consider Don a very really good modeler. So you appreciate things like that. So no, we enjoyed the show. We're glad you could be there out there with us. My favorite part of that whole show was when we got the convention center to shut the lights or turn the lights down for us. That Friday night.
Oh yeah,
I've been for years and been trying to, because there's no way that the convention center in Edison would ever do that for us. So it was really nice when they were very hospitable about it. They said actually they didn't even know if they could do it, but they figured out a way to get most of the lights off, and it was actually perfect because if they made it completely dark, I think it would have actually been even harder to see.
Yeah.
So it was almost like it was dusk.
Yeah.
It was nice. You could still see the layout, but you could really see the lights.
The lighting.
And that was my favorite part. I was and I'm glad you were there to videotape it.
Yeah, I caught that on video as well, and that was like really cool to see. I guess they gave us about 10 or 15 minutes to get that done.
I mean that was I think that was more the TCA guys. I think they just wanted they had a banquet or something they had to get to. I mean the convention center, I think they would have let us stay there all night. They didn't care. But it was nice. And boy, that we were spoiled there because you've been to the Raritan Center.
Yes.
I mean, when you're setting up the shows, no air conditioning on, half the lights on. It was actually cold in that convention center. Like guys were putting sweatshirts on. It was so nice because it had to be what the heck? It was like 104 outside, and it was like 62 inside that convention center.
Yeah.
So it was nice setting up and taking down. It was a really good show. I'm glad we did it. I really am glad.
Yeah, and I'm glad I got to shoot behind the scenes with you guys setting up because there was a lot of questions about how you guys were even carrying these modules in there, so they got to see all the carts that you built to bring the stuff in.
Yeah, it's kind of a cluster. While we're setting up, I said we should always have the old Benny Hill music playing as we're setting up the layout. But no, it all works. It's. I do draw a little map ahead of time just so guys say what's going where. But sometimes you don't realize some modules won't go next to certain modules. There's something that hits or interferes, or so sometimes the best laid plan you still got to kind of move some stuff around a little bit, especially a layout that big. That was a big layout. But it was nice. It was and I'm glad the independents could do it with us. I mean they're a good group of guys. We obviously everybody gets along. But we've never really done a show together. We see each other at shows, talk to each other. So it was nice having those guys there. I mean, they're a good group of guys. Everybody, I think, got along great. I think everybody got a lot of running time that they wanted to do. So, that might even be a future thing too. Maybe do another collaboration show far away, like an Oaks or something. Or, even we got asked if we'd be interested in doing York. and to do York, to do another big layout at York, that would require, a lot of help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you guys will be a big hit at York.
It's just getting it together, getting the hotels, getting that, it's a lot. I mean, it gets expensive.
Right.
Like I told you, I think at the end of the convention, unfortunately, we had one of the guys couldn't come back and get a trailer, so I wound up having to bring one trailer home, and I'm 3 hours from the convention center, and then I had to drive back out Sunday morning and go get the other trailer. So I don't even want to think how much I spent on fuel and tolls. I mean, I don't mind. It's a hobby. You enjoy it, but
right.
I was more sick of driving by the end of that weekend.
I bet. Yeah.
So. Yeah, but no, it was good. It was, and yes, and the compliments. I mean, I can't think of the other guy from the TC. Well, the other nice thing too is that I met people from almost, I think, every state. A lot of guys there from Ohio, a lot of guys there from Virginia, but there was guys from California that were there. I was talking to.
Oh yeah.
There was one guy from. There was two guys there from Canada. I spoke to. I didn't even know the TCA had a division in Canada, but so a couple guys from Canada I told. So it was nice. It was people got to see the layout that'll probably never see it again. When we do the Greenberg shows, it's always the same.
Same crowd, right?
It's but I mean it's the same area. It's the metropolitan area. New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So because we're part of the Becca division. So it was nice to get out there. The two hosts of it, Pete and I forget Russell.
Yep.
Very hospitable. I mean, Pete couldn't have been more hospitable. I mean, he would come up to me every hour, be like, "Anything you need," So that it was very well run. It was a nice convention.
And just so you know, Pete is also a member of the River City Three Railers.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's his club that he's a member at. And they got a nice layout as well.
Yeah, I saw the video you did of theirs once. So I'm glad. I'm glad we did it.
All right, so let's go ahead and move forward with the update. So what are you working on today?
So these modules will belong to one of our members, Mike. He's had the turntable. He had the Millhouse. So it's a 34-inch Millhouse River Studio turntable. It's the largest one they make. But that's basically the only thing we salvaged from his old layout. That and the roundhouse. The issues he always had with this layout is he used to use fit-up tracks to tie all the modules together, and nothing ever fit up well. Engines would derail, and it was just frustrating. It took him a long time to set it up. It had all these little weird pieces that go to it, and so the frustration finally took over about 2 years ago, and he's like, I don't want to set this up anymore. He actually almost considered selling it. But then we stored it upstairs. It just sat up there. And it was actually at the convention. We were talking, and it's funny because Mike was one of the ones that didn't want to do the convention. But I browbeat him into doing it. So we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden he was like, I think I want to bring the turntable back. He's like, but we have to figure out a way to make it easier to set up, more condensed. His goals were that, bringing the turntable closer to the public, because the way that the turntable used to sit, it was very far back, and it sat at a 90.
I remember that.
And so you couldn't see inside the engine house. You couldn't see. So after drawing multiple different things, we finally came up with this design where basically we built the modules the shape of a switch. And then what we did is we added a ledger to the turntable. So now there's no more fit-up pieces. These pieces just are cut perfect, line up perfect. As long as when you set these up next to it and these modules sit on the ledger around the thing, these tracks will line up perfect every time. And we've actually taken it apart, put it back together, taken it apart, put it back together a couple times, and it does. It lines up perfect every time. So now it's, as long as you just do that, you're set up, no pins. You don't need pins in here. I mean, when you're setting up, you could throw a couple pins in if you wanted to, but but you don't have to. And now he's got, so he still has the 3 stalls. He's got the, the sanding track and you got a little fuel track there for diesels, a little storage. We custom made a sand house down there with a pit, drop off pit with the conveyor. This is going to be a little boiler house. I'm actually working on the boiler that'll go in there now, but that'll go in there with a water tank. Built the pipe bridge and everything that goes back to the roundhouse. So all of that will be permanently mounted. That one there. Here, so this is my, everybody's seen this multiple times. This is actually my charging station on the back for my dead rail engines. So this is where, with this setup, this piece will sit, because this gets used every show. So I always have different locations it goes. That's a Lionel coaling tower. So it always just kind of sat on the layout by itself, so we wanted to expand on it. So if you ever looked at the Walters kit actually has like a shed where for the unload, to load to the, because this had like a trolley system thing that would load it.
Okay.
So the way it's oriented here, we couldn't bring the track on the side, so we did a track off the turntable. So I kind of like did a little weird angled building here.
Right.
Ash pit. So if anybody remembers the old setup, Mike always had an ash pit there that had the little glowing lights like a thing, and then he had a smoke unit. So we have another smoke unit hidden down inside of here. This is, I don't know how much smoke this thing is. This is like an industrial smoke unit. It got sent to me by accident.
Okay.
So I figured we'd try it here. But if worse comes to worse and we have to downsize it, make it smaller. So this is the same company that I have the smoke units for the power station, but it's like 4 times the size. So again,
that was a shipping model company.
Yeah, it was a harbor model.
Model.
It's a company that makes stuff for remote control boats. So that would be like so if you had a big model remote controlled boat, that would be the smoke unit for it.
And just to remind everybody, as Matt mentions the stuff where he buys it from, I do put hyperlinks in the description of the video, so whatever company he mentions, you don't have to stop the video and go out and do your own research. I've already done it for you. I've had the viewers like, I had to stop the video every 5 minutes to write down what Matt's saying. So I said, you don't have to do that. Just go into the description, and everything's in there with the link that he talks about. So I do try to do that for you guys. And that's why I ask them questions. I'll stop them. Okay, where did you get this, or how are you doing that? So, for example, the boiler that you just showed us. So, how did you end up making it? It looks like a piece of PVC.
So it's a PVC pipe.
Okay.
And then this is all just styrene. So what I do is I glue the styrene onto, because the styrene glue won't work on the PVC pipe. But once I get a couple pieces of styrene glued to it, then I can go back to using the styrene glue. And that's nut bolt details. This is all, so it's all from Plastruct. So it's ladder detail, their railing detail. And then I like using my catwalks. So I use it's a diamond mesh that I use for my fencing. But then the actual catwalks, I use a G-scale ladder.
Oh, wow.
So it saves me a lot of time from having to build every little piece.
Yes, yes.
You can also use, they have one size bigger than this. That's like what is, I'll use for the stanchions that come down for some of the catwalks.
All right. So the nut details?
Nut bolt detail, that's from Tichy.
Tichy, right? Yes.
So that's, I've got all different sizes.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
And then they have mending plates with all kinds of rivet details and all kinds of stuff. Tichy's got, that's where I get all the windows and doors and everything also. But there's some of the mending plates there on the thing. And then once this all gets painted, what I do is the same thing like if you eventually go over and do the conveyor over there.
Right.
I painted all the base color, and then I go back in and I touch up. So whatever the base color, so like the base color of that was yellow, and then I went back and I painted the catwalk black, painted all the piping silver. So that does take a little bit of time to go in with a little detailed brush and paint it all.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. We'll get over there here shortly, and we'll get the video on that. And so, working our way around here, is this new?
So, well, no, this was on Mike's also. So
Okay.
This is just the hoist lift for the ash pit. So once they drop the ashes, they get enough down there. this hoist would bring it up, and then they could load the ash into a car.
Oh.
Haul it away.
Okay.
So that I didn't make that. That was Mike bought that. I don't know if it was a kit and then he made it, but that he had. He had this. The little buildings he had on his old thing, so we salvaged all those off.
Right.
But anything, obviously that's still the black, that's new. The boiler house is new. I don't like the size of the windows on that. I actually made one window to test. I think it's too big for the scale. I'm going to actually squeeze those windows down and make it a little smaller.
And could you, I know we covered this before, but I always like to cover it again in a new video. So the material here that you're using,
it's a gator board.
Gator board, and that's through Uline, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
Uline. So that's a shipping company.
So rather that you found that gator board is a lot more stronger than foam board.
It's a lot more stable because it's almost like a thin wood veneer. I don't know what it is, but it's very stable, very hard. The foam core is okay. I mean, you could use it, but it can warp. I find that the gator board doesn't warp. So it really comes down to also if you're going to make the building permanently mounted or. So like this will not be a permanently mounted building.
Oh, okay.
Because it stretches between two modules. This will have to come off for every show. So that you definitely want to make out of the gator board because it's going to take a lot more of a beating. Like that boiler house, and that's all going to be permanently mounted. So I can make that out of foam core if I wanted to.
And you just use these to
so this is permanently glued on everything because I use hot glue. I'm going to need to be able to get access to do the lighting. So that one I didn't glue on yet. Once I get the lighting all done and everything tied up, then I'll glue that piece on.
You use any special type of hot glue?
The Gorilla.
Gorilla? Oh yeah, I like the Gorilla hot glue myself.
So Gorilla glue, and actually the gun. That's the best hot glue gun I've ever bought. I mean, I've got several of them. The DeWalt one was okay. I don't remember even made this one. This is my original one. But
oh yeah.
This one I have a hard time getting. Like I'm constantly having to push the glue in the back to reseat it. The DeWalt one was okay, but this one was awesome. I got Home Depot.
Very nice. And of course, you guys went the 4 main lines.
So this is So those are our mainline modules. So those are 2 4-foot on the outside. So the nice thing is we squeezed this completely down to 8 feet.
Oh.
Which was nice because that was Mike's goal. He's like, I don't want 100 modules to have set up. He goes, so really he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 modules. So it'll be nice. And the other thing was the way it's oriented now, the way you're standing, you've got a nice view into the roundhouse. So I can do some detailed scenes inside the roundhouse.
Right.
That never had a lot of lighting inside, so I'm gonna, do my typical lighting inside, so it'll be nice and bright in there. I'll do a couple of some workbenches, some tool benches, so it'll be nice. I mean, you're less than 8 feet away from it to look in there.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
and for those who may not know, you're using Gargrave's track.
Gargrave's Phantom, yep.
And your switches are
Ross.
Yeah,
it's all Ross.
So,
and this is this is one of the regulars, the 110s or whatever they are, the 101s.
Yeah.
So this is better, a little bit better than an 072. So we already checked all the tenders of the Niagara, all the big engines, and that goes through there with no issue whatsoever. That's an 054 coming in off there. So that'll handle smaller steams, but it'll handle any diesel.
Okay.
So the nice thing is like you can come in one way, turn around, and head out another way if you want, or come in, so you can come into it from either direction.
And you're using a Millhouse River.
Yep, Millhouse River
Studio
turntable, 34-inch, which is as big as one. So you can fit, a big boy on there. You can fit, the bigger steam engines. The big boys and the bigger steam they overhang a little bit, but they still, the trucks all fit onto the turntable.
Yeah.
We're never putting anything that big in here anyway.
And Al does watch my videos, so shout out to him.
Shout out to him. So yeah, this is big. So yeah, Al, this is 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Mike, maybe not that old. I bet you it's at least 8, because I helped Mike do this years ago, and then we used it for probably 4 years. And then, like I said, he just finally got so frustrated with it because we could never get the tracks to line up right. Not a Millhouse River Studio issue. That was we just couldn't get the small pieces to line up with the other modules.
Right.
So finally, like I said, we came up with this design where we put a ledger around the outside of it, and now everything just locks together, and it has no choice but to line up now. And then the other thing we kept it manual.
Oh.
So, which just makes it a little more fun because you gotta line it up.
Okay.
It's not indexed. So it takes a little more skill to line up and get everything you got to do.
Yeah, because I do know that if you wanted to, he does sell a controller.
He sells the indexing thing.
Yeah.
But, I have I have a Ross transfer bridge, small one that I use, and I have the indexing with that, and it's nice because you just push a button. But Mike didn't want the indexing. He wanted to be able to manually do it because he's like, in real life, they manually did it.
Yeah, that's true.
So but yeah, no, it's. I think it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be, and our goal is to get this done for the November show. We'll see.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna detail the inside of the boiler room.
And this is gonna be your boiler room.
This is gonna be the boiler room. So they got a water tank, and you have the boiler in there, and this will be permanently mounted. Except this will come off just because it sits high, so it saves a little room in the rack. And again, so this will get some brick. I have a brick stuff that goes around here. I don't have any of it out.
And people get to see the raw materials that you're working with.
Yeah,
so
this is a cardboard tube.
So you're making a chimney out of a basic.
Yeah, just a basic
cardboard tube.
That'll get like a concrete foundation. It'll look like concrete. And the same brick that I'm using is that I used on the sand house. So see the brick I used on the
Oh yeah, I do see that brick.
It's an embossed brick paper. I actually get it through Micromark.
Micromark has the brick paper.
Yeah, they sell brick. They sell concrete block. They sell all different kinds of stuff. They sell little details.
Oh wow!
So what I do with that is I use transfer tape. So see how it's got all the raised, cornices and everything. And
yeah.
That I just use a transfer tape. Put that onto there. That gives me the little raised detail area, so it gives it more of a three-dimensional look. And then I just touch up the edges with a brick colored paint. But they have brick, so that's the brick I'll use around that. But the nice thing is when you put it on there, it looks like it'll look like a brick chimney.
Yeah, and that's self-sticking?
Self-sticking, yep. And it sticks. So don't miss.
Don't miss.
So you got concrete block. And the thing is, if you feel it, it's embossed. So
oh wow,
yeah.
It does feel like real brick.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
So it's great stuff. They have that. This is a nice one. I've used this one. That's like an old brick.
Okay.
Cobblestone.
I didn't know they sold this stuff.
Yeah, Micromark's got it in there. I gave you a Micromark catalog. I got a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, I have yet to look through it, but
this wasn't Micromark. This guy actually sets up at the shows occasionally. I don't name his company. I don't have it. But this is not embossed. But it's photo quality.
Yeah.
So if you use this,
is that one that's scenery sheets?
Yes, that's it. That's them scenery sheets.
Yeah.
So I think I bought this at a Greenberg show. So this, if I use it, I use it either for an interior. Because it works out.
Oh, it's perfect for that. Yeah,
or
yeah.
I use it for building kind of farther away.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing scenery sheets at shows.
Yeah, his stuff's pretty nice. He's got some nice stuff. But the embossed stuff's really nice. I do like that. And it's a really nice scale. It's perfect scale. So yeah, that's what I'm using for all that. That building will be, have that brick also. I'm trying to match the brick of the, or as close as possible to the brick of the roundhouse.
Right. Okay. Wow. That's pretty good.
Got one of my engines here. We can run some engines on the.
All right, I want to take a look at the rest of this before we do.
I'll set that up. While you're doing that.
again, you have this wonderful. And what is this piece here you're calling?
So that's a pipe bridge.
Pipe
bridge.
bridge.
Catwalk. So that'll take. So you got the red and the blue valves. So the red is the hot steam going to, and this is they would use steam to heat the roundhouse up.
Oh,
so that
okay.
takes the hot steam in, and then you got your once it condensates down, it returns the blue, returns it back into the holding tank, water back into the boiler.
I like the guys with the wood and the roof and
Yeah, they've been up there forever.
Yeah.
They just can't seem to fix that roof.
and this piece over here is the
So that would be a sanding house, a shed. So basically, the raw sand would come in and get dumped into the pit.
Oh, okay.
That conveyor would haul it up and hold it into the holding bin. But the holding bin would obviously be out in the weather.
Right.
The outside bin. As they needed the sand would be brought inside the sand house, which then would have like a heating system in there to dry it out. And then it would be put into the sanding tower, which is that black piece there, and would be what the sand would go into the engine.
And what did you use for this hydraulic arm? That's so cool.
So sometimes I just use tubing, but that's actually was a hydraulic piston from something. Anytime I told you, I buy broken toys and all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
at shows, and I cannibalize the pieces of them.
And how about the motor for the?
So the motor was a old like a ON30 tractor, but the picture I found on the conveyor that I wanted to I didn't copy it perfectly, but kind of mimicked it. They had an old like an old farmall tractor, but you could see it was an old tractor, and then they just kind of took the wheels and everything off and kind of sat it there, but just reusing the engine for it. I kind of like that idea, so that was the same thing.
Wow, that is so cool. And I can see what you mean by the windows here.
Yeah, windows is too big. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit and make it a little smaller. Make it one piece. Actually, I made the grill, because the grills, again, I just use chicken wire.
Yes, yeah.
So that's going to be the size of the window now.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a little bit smaller.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, that would make...
It'll look better.
Yeah.
And then, again, my concrete's the cork. So that inside there, I'll actually paint like a gloss Mod Podge. Because if you ever look at like those old factories, they would polish the floors.
Yes.
So that'll have a polished floor in there. So just like the powerhouse, I don't know if you've ever noticed in the power station, if you actually look, you see the lights reflecting in the floor. I always kind of thought that was a cool look.
And then I'll show you guys inside of the roundhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it's not detailed yet, but I've got benches that I have made that have some lights on them, and there'll be some toolboxes and some wood benches. The nice thing is between the tracks, you've got a lot of room, a lot of space, so I can really detail.
Oh yeah.
Scenes. And then I'll do nice LED lighting inside with the Evans string lights. So when it'll actually probably be overlit than what it would be in real life. But sometimes you have to do things like that with modeling just so you can see. Yep. So I'm going to overlight it so that you can see all the detail in there.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, I can see the difference now. I do agree with you that this would be a.
It's just it was too big for the building. So, but that's the beauty with using the foam core or the gator board. I don't like it. I just cut the pieces I want. I hot glue it back in. It looks like you mash something together, but once you cover it all with the cedar, you don't see
You'll never see it right.
So that's what I like about building my buildings this way, is because if I don't like something, I just modify it. Cut another opening, close an opening in, whatever I want to make it look like. I'm going to actually close the window in on that side of the building.
Yes.
First of all, it's going to help me hide my wiring for all my lighting, and B, you can't really see it anyway. So I'm going to close that in, and it's one less window I got to make. so. But that's how things just go as I'm progressing along. I've said before, like I come out here in the morning, or sometimes in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll sit out here and enjoy a cigar or something and just sit here and look at the thing. So when I was building the mine, that was a perfect example. One day there was one conveyor, and the next day there was two conveyors, and that was just because I was sitting here one day drinking my coffee. And I'm like, it needs something, and I was like, it needs another conveyor. So I built the conveyor, I mocked it up. My conveyors, when I do the closed conveyors, where I just do like the big ones, I use that, and these I get by the thousands because, you know, if anybody remembers, I'm a builder.
Yes.
So I always keep these. Anytime you do vinyl rails,
right,
they always send you several extra spindles.
Oh.
So my guys just know, you know, they save everything for me. So this is how I start, because the thing is, and I can get these up to 8 feet. So the nice thing, like say I need a conveyor somewhere, you know, so now I can cut it, shape it what I want to do, size it into place, and then I just cover all this. So A, it gives me strength for what I need. B,
right,
stuff glues to this really well. And C, I can hide all the wiring or anything I need to inside of here to you know, light them up. So this is a great thing, and you can buy these at Home Depot, you can buy these anywhere, but like I said, I just, you know, we do a ton of vinyl rails. So the guys just keep the extra spindles for me, because they sell them in 8-foot pieces, 6-foot pieces, you know, straight stair rail. So every one comes with like 3 or 4 extra spindles. You know,
okay.
Just because you're always cutting them.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. So good option to use for something like that.
And for those who may not remember, that's Matt's dead rail locomotive that he's converted. And it has Tsunami 2 sounds, if I remember correctly.
Now I can take, so this track actually lines up with that one stall. We did that on purpose.
Okay.
So that say you wanted to do like a ABA unit or something, you could actually run that across there and park an ABA there.
Oh wow.
But then, you know, say I want to take this over and get some sand, or pick up that piece, so.
There you go. Got a pretty good eye there, Matt. You lined it up really good.
You get some sand. It was the flash. The flash put the sand in for me. So, I mean, you don't even really see too much of a click from the thing on.
No.
So that's what I mean. We used to have so much trouble with it lining up, and so that was what just the frustration finally set in. And Mike's like, I don't want to use it anymore. So now it's like, can you just pull that one wire out of the way? See the wire?
Oh yeah, I got it.
So now, you know, you pull it right into the engine house.
Oh yeah.
The beauty with the dead rail is because you can see how we clean those tracks off yet from painting.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't need continuity.
That's so cool. I noticed how smooth the locomotive rode over, even though there seemed to be
there's very little. I mean, there's a gap there, but it'll ride the gap. It's the height differences you can't have. So one of the things I did, as you can see, is once we had everything together and everything lined up, I took a belt sander and I just belt sanded everything so that I knew the two of them were perfect.
Okay.
And then we had to shim a little bit. You can see some of the white shims.
Yeah.
But
that thing works really, really smooth.
And the nice thing is, like, so now, like I came in that way. If I wanted to eventually leave, I can just go out this way.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, well, maybe we'll see a Conrail piece in here. Yeah, no, like the turntables work great. Yeah, and then I mean you could picture this as a steam unit. I mean obviously it's not, but then if you wanted to come over to the ash pit,
Okay.
so you come over to the ash pit. And then this would be the point where there's switches on here that'll you'll go over the ash pit, and then you would see you hit the one switch, and then you see the flashing red lights like they're dropping the hot embers.
Yeah.
And then you turn on the smoke unit, and then the smoke used to come up. So Mike had that same detail on his last one. It was always people liked seeing it. This thing it's going to look like the thing's on fire. But like I said, if worse comes to worse, we may have to downsize the smoke unit, make it a little small, like the smaller ones we use for the other things. But we'll try this out, see how it works. But yeah,
Now, I'm noticing on this piece over here that you have sitting here.
it's another little scratch-built tank.
Yeah. I really like how you did this. Where are you finding these little decals like that? Let's say danger, flammable, and...
One of the companies is right here, Granger.
Granger? Granger?
So Granger. So if you go, oh, this is Uline. Uline might have them too.
They would have decals this small?
They have, in their catalog, they sell all those signs.
Yes.
So I just take the sheet and put it on my scanner, scan it in, and scale it down whatever size.
Oh, that's how you're doing it.
Yeah, but I thought
so you're just using the pictures.
Yeah, I'm using the pictures. Yeah, different size.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Just print up a bunch of them. But yeah, this I pulled out of a Granger. I mean, you can see it. It's a sheet. I pulled it out of the Granger catalog. Then I took and put it on there. So obviously in the pictures on the Granger catalog, they're more like this size.
Yes.
Over there. Look at that. So then I scaled down.
You scaled down,
what I needed
right.
for my size.
I like how you're using the wiring on that and stuff.
Yeah, so again, my little chicken wire thing, that's just a piece of chicken wire. Then I bend it to the rack I need, build a little box there. There's a piece of wire I use for the hose. Had a little light coming up here that we can. So, and again, I mean, there's tanks like this all over the place. There's several of these tanks that have the light and everything on them to sit out of Mazdas, because they have the different fuels for that's where our reclamation, my dump, where I take and dump all my debris at. So they've got basically it's like a little small tank farm. It's all in concrete, things for if they have spills. And then they have the different fuels out there for the different oils for the machines and the trucks and the diesel, and then and that's what their tanks look like.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, I get a lot of ideas out of it, because when you're sitting in line waiting to get over the scale, I'll just sit there and take pictures and stuff, because it changes out there every day. There's something different every day out there. This used to be the layout of what it was. So these ran all the different track power. These were the switches, because all the switches were the slow motion switches.
Okay.
And then he had his different voltages, and then so like that's the transformer that actually runs the turntable.
Oh, okay.
So he can turn the voltage down on that and make it run really slow if you wanted to.
Wow.
So and then
where'd you guys end up getting a joystick from? That's pretty nice.
Bought it online somewhere. I guess it's for gaming or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
But it's got all the, there's different gauges. So he'll reuse all this so he knows what his outputs are.
Yeah.
But this will all change.
Yeah, a lot of these switches and gauges I get off of Amazon.
Yeah. That's the other thing, the beauty of this design is that, you know that our corner comes around here, because this doesn't come straight out into the layout, it comes in at an angle. It doesn't really take up much room.
Okay.
Basically, it sits in a corner.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be in the way, So that's something we think about now when we do some of the things is not to take up a lot of room inside the layout. especially if they're going to keep making it smaller. You know, we still have our tables set up. So you don't have a lot of room like that. A couple shows ago, remember we were 24 by 24.
Yeah.
It was so tight inside the land. That's when we finally told Greenberg minimum never smaller than 28 by 20. We just can't. You know, the days of the 42 by 52 are long gone. You know, I don't think we'll ever be that size again.
Yeah.
That's why the convention was nice. We were 28 by 60.
Wow.
That was a nice layout.
Yeah. So, what's the future? What's after this? I mean, I know some.
So we have one more project. I mean, if you want to walk around, I mean, it's sitting in here on the thing.
Oh.
A year ago, 2 years ago, transfer bridge.
Yes.
So I've actually been doing a little bit of work to it. So this used to have a couple of pieces out front that had the cranes. This is one of them. I salvaged one of the cranes, but I got rid of that because again, it just took up too much room. Then there's the engine house I made. Remember with the doors that go up and down?
Yep.
So we're going to reuse that. This is going to be used, and then the little piece at the end. But I'm going to build two new modules that go up front that you'll be able to come off of the main line through and into the transfer bridge. This is a tight curve, so this is only a 18-inch transfer bridge anyway. So this is only really small diesels.
Okay.
In here. But I built these two buildings that just screw nut onto the side. So, you know, because where that building sits is where the coal loader that I made sat. That's, you know, that was a lot of fun to build. You know, it's the operating coal loader. It loads. It was too big, too cumbersome. It really needs to be in a home layout. So either, you know, keep track in the future. I'll put it online to sell. I'll either do maybe a home layout here, a little thing point to point and use it here, or I'll donate it to one of the big train clubs. But I used it one show, and it worked okay. The thing I realized, it worked great when it was in the shop. It worked okay at the show. I realized that the show, the problem was if it's not perfectly level, obviously the coal's coming out at an angle.
Right.
So because I had a lot of spillage, and I'm like, I don't understand that. I was like, I didn't have that kind of spillage when I was at the shop, and I realized it was probably not level. So obviously, wherever it gets eventually set up permanently, it's going to have to be leveled, make sure it's in. But it works great. I mean, you saw it.
Oh yeah.
A video of it. And it's got a big giant actuator in here that, you know, and then the control panel. You know, this has got a really cool control panel.
Yep.
That operates everything.
So if you guys are interested in buying this, you can.
Yeah, I would sell it. You want to contact Sean, he'll let me know.
Contact me. Matt's also on Instagram. I'll send you a link.
And then this pops off the top, and that's how you load it.
I do have a video of this working.
The chute goes up and down.
Yep.
And this holds, so the bin is probably to about here. So it holds enough coal that you could load probably about 10 or 12 of the, the big coal cars.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to build.
And what's the footprint of this, in case somebody's interested?
Well, you could cut it, so you can't obviously make it any narrower.
Right.
So width-wise, it is 22 inches wide.
Okay.
Right now, as it sits, it is 54 inches long. But you could cut it back. You can see I drew a line here.
Yes.
You could cut it back to 3 feet.
Okay.
You don't really need any of this.
So you can cut back to 20. So you can make it 22 by 36. Okay. Yeah. So you guys are interested? It would be a one-of-a-kind piece. I know people are really interested.
It would look cool on Conahay Rail.
You guys, I know you follow guys, Matt a lot, and would love to have his pieces. And he's sold pieces before to different people. So
you get tired of it. This took it took a little damage in the trailer, but I mean, I can fix all that. That's all. It just needs the rails fixed. But I figured wherever its permanent home is, that's where then fix it. But I mean, it's got a lot of potential. You got a couple little piece tracks here. I always just liked because it looks. I like when the mashup of the old and the new.
Yes.
So you could tell like this was the original, and then they added this new flow loader.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. I mean, it's something they really did do.
Yeah, well, listen, the one show it did, I mean, people would, that's all I did that whole show, was just load cars. And a lot of people were like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Matter of fact, remember I got a call from Alan from Millhouse River
Yes.
Studios. You talked to him, and he was in the process of designing his at the time.
Yeah.
So he was picking my brain what I did. Mine's a one-off. I'm not gonna build. I'll never build another one. I built one. I wanted to build it. I wanted to accomplish it. I accomplished it. But and it was a lot of fun. It was a pain. It was a pain in the ass. but it works great. And the actuator I have in there, the 2 actuators that I have in there, are like industrial ones. So it'll run forever.
All right.
All right.
And is that my Conrail caboose?
That is your Conrail caboose.
I thought so.
Not a Conrail anymore. Now it's a what is it?
Yard
The connecting railroad, the Raritan Valley connecting railroad.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I recognized it.
Yeah, this was a neat piece. You'll see this again. It'll come, but all the gates move, and this was my point when I was building stuff that I wanted animation.
Great. Yeah, you got a whole bunch of switches on the back side of this too.
Well, this is what operates. So when you're connected to the engine house, so this is what makes the doors go up and down on the engine house. This powers the engine house tracks. Your different lights. Remember, there's an overhead crane that goes
Yes.
back and forth lights. This is the warehouse gate. So like you push that, this gate closes and shuts. Bridge gate. So this button here would operate this gate here to close and shut.
Oh yeah, I remember it now.
Operates this gate, closes and shuts. And then this is the control panel for the Ross transfer bridge.
How are you making those stop signs like that?
Again, same thing. Just print them.
You printed them up?
Yeah, just that was out of the same thing, out of the Granger thing.
I mean, it looks so perfect though.
Well, because it's a picture of a real sign. But then you just scale it down to what you need it scaled
Yeah.
to.
I mean, even the way you cut it out, it's like.
You got to be good with a pair of scissors. And then I apply it to a piece of styrene, so it gives it some thickness.
Oh, so that's how you did it. It's actually to
Yeah, and then you
styrene.
just paint the edge silver, paint the back silver, and then even a little sign. I mean, all the signs say stuff. Check, make sure a gate is open. Those are all signs that you would see places. Because obviously, put that sign there so the engine doesn't run through the gate.
Yeah.
I think this sign down here says, what does this say? I think it says, do not pass this point. Make sure, what does it say? Make sure a hostler meets you. So this would be like bringing into an engine. You'd have a hostler would bring the engine in. So they would drop here, and then somebody, there's somebody who's familiar with the system would actually move the engines into the engine house.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, thank you for showing us your behind the
absolutely.
scenes and all this stuff. Because believe it or not, we're almost at an hour timer.
And this is a small project.
Yeah. But people always enjoy your behind the scenes and how you build stuff and what you're using, what you're up to, what are they going to see next, what's your future plans, and
Listen to me yap.
But again, thanks a lot for bringing us behind the scenes. Make sure you check out the Raritan Valley Hi-Railers when they're at the Greenberg show, and Edison is their hometown show. They always try to put in for there. They might not always get that spot, but
We try to be there.
They try to be there as much as they can. A great club, and I'd like to thank you guys for supporting them, supporting the Greenberg shows and Dakman Productions. And we'll catch you guys trackside.
All right. See you later.
Goodbye.